This is Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. Today is all about this guy right here, old Powell, at 2 o'clock. We'll see what kind of Fed rate that they're going to cut. I think a quarter point. But the question and the key is going to be going forward on the next couple of meetings. Are they going to keep on cutting? Are they going to look at a quarter point? Or look at a half a point? Or are they looking at nothing? Okay, so that's going to be the key. Is going to be at 2:30 is going to be his speech. Okay, we're going to take a look at some stocks here. First of all, take a look here at Tesla, at Netflix, NVDA, and then BMNR. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy or selling stock about ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, here we have Tesla. Now, very, very interesting. Elon there, he bought $1 billion worth of stock. Now you say, wow, that's really great. He's got full belief in the company. Not so sure. Now, remember, they offered him a pay package of $1 trillion over the next 10 years if he meets all this criteria. That's the key. You have to sell X amount of cars. Your stock price has to be X amount. There's a lot of stipulations to get that kind of a money, okay? So right now, you have to look at it as, why would he buy $1 billion worth of stock? He's trying to put a floor underneath the stock, okay? So always remember, never just look at the face value of everything. Always try to dig in deeper. That's the key. Now, here's what we have here on the daily chart. Now, you can see here how we made this high of 418. Yesterday, we had this high of 423, and then we're looking at that 425 level, which is sitting at rate after he took that initial investment at 425.70 level. Now, if it keeps right on running, all we do is look right to the left of the chart here. Your next target is going to be right there at 439, and then we're going to come right up to the top of this candle right there. You're looking at 465, and then we have your big retest there at 488.54. Now, you crack that. Obviously, then you're going to head right towards that 500 mark. Now, you can see here how we had a really nice, good double bottom situation, and we ran up, and then we had this consolidation. So I always point out this consolidation. What that does is build energy, and this was a really nice situation because you have a low, higher low, higher low. Very good uptrending chart. And then once she broke, now no one's going to know that he's going to go out and buy $1 billion worth of shares. But again, that's what happened, and then it cracked right on up here. Now, just remember, on these cars, the subsidies are going to be gone as of the 30th. So this quarter here probably look good. People that wanted a Tesla are going to be buying them Teslas. But how's it going to go going forward? Now, in Europe, he's getting hammered. I mean, China, his sales are down. Europe, his sales are down. So, you know, America here is what he got here. Now, again, there's a lot more to this company than just car sales. He's got that self-driving. He's got the SpaceX. He got the internet. There's a lot more to this company than just that. But again, always read through the information. Don't just take anything at face value. Now, on the downside here, we got a lot of gaps, okay? So today we made this low of 409. What we're looking for here is the bottom of that candle at that 402.43. There's your gap, and then we look to the top of the candle at 396.69. Your gap and your fill. Keeps right on coming down here. You're looking at that 381.89 level, and then we're looking to the bottom of that candle at 370.24 level, okay? And then we have 368.99. Another gap. Another fill situation. Then we're going to look to the top of that candle at 358.44, and then we have 354.72 level, and then we're going to come right here to the top of that candle at that 355 level. Then we'll come down here at 348.98, and then just work yourself all the way on down here till we get to that 50-day 335. We have your 200-day 331, and then we have your 100-day, which is holding up very nicely. Now, you can see here, this is way overbought condition. Not saying they can't stay overbought, but, you know, it just spiked right on up. Same way here with the MACD, and that's really never really kind of a good, because now we left those two gaps in the fill situation down here. That's not really good, all right? However, again, if you can keep right on rolling and you get above that price channel at that key 425.70, then we have some really nice targets and work yourself all the way up to that 488. Now, we look at the weekly chart here, okay? So the weekly here is not overbought. You're only sitting at 68. You got room to run on the situation. But you can see here with the gap up kind of a deal. So your big target is going to be right there at the top of that candle. That's at 439.74. And then we have that big topping tail at 488, that big spike high. Again, when you look at these simple moving averages, okay, the 8-day, nice. 21-day curled over to 50-day. Everything is running bottom left, upper right, looking very, very good. Okay, and this does have room to run the same way here with the green over your red. So I would expect this here to, maybe we could even go higher on this situation. But I say just be a little bit careful on here, because once those subsidies are cut here, our people are going to be jumping into these Tesla vehicles here. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at. Now, self-driving, we got to see how that's going to get in. His Cybertruck, the least, I think, popular Cybertruck, he already scrapped that. It was in process for 4 months. So we got to see how that's shaped up. But that's really been, I think that's been a kind of like a disaster. I mean, $100,000. Now he raised the price to $115,000. So we got to see how this all shakes out here if you want to yourself a Tesla. But what we do is we always trade the market. So again, just watch if this does sell off. Watch that gap, that fill, that 8-day, the gap, the fill, and then we just, however we had here on the rise up, now that was all become very, very key support levels, okay, along with the simple moving averages. All right, let's take a look here now at Netflix. Now here we have Netflix. Now it just seems like, okay, now Netflix is up here about 19 so far, okay? Now it always seems like when the market sells off, okay, Netflix wants to move up, even though the Dow is up here really good, okay? It just seems like that Netflix wants to move up. Now, again, they got that football coming into play here. You know, they have a lot of sporting events coming into here, with even like with the WWE, the baseball, all this kind of stuff. So they have a lot of good stuff coming into the old mix. So I wish your stock would split. That would be kind of awesome. But so far it isn't. So we got to get through this resistance level, okay? So what we're looking for here is that a 1221 level. We're looking here, 1221 level, and we're looking here to get above that. Now, if we can hold that, okay, if we can hold it, I should say, your next level is going to be that 1215. There's your 50-day, and then we have your 100-day at 1211. Then what we do is we'll come down here to today's low. You're looking at 1206. We'll come down here at that 1197 level, and then we can have your retest down here at 1173. We lose that, we're going to come right down to the bottom of that candle at that 1144 level. Okay, but right now we have this nice, good sideways action, and we're only sitting at 50. This here is a sideways action, so you got plenty of room to run. Now, if we can start getting some juice going on here, then what we'll do is we're going to look to the top of that candle right there, 1237. We'll come up here at the 1251 level. Then we have that 1267. That is going to be your big retest. Now, we crack above that. All we do is bring the price channels right across here. We got 1277 level, okay? We come up top of that candle right there. You got 1302. And then we just work yourself right on up here. You got 1331. And we come all the way up to that 1341. Now, you crack that. Obviously, you're going to probably head for that 1400 mark. When we look at the weekly chart here, you can just see here. Look at this. Look at it. Just an absolute beaut, Clark, all the way and up. Okay, look at that chart. She's just fantastic, all the way from the bottom up. So I always say if we lose that 8-day, it would come down to the 21. That's a catch-all. We lose that, we come down to the 50. Now, it never even got there, but now we're rising right on up here, bottom left, upper right, looking very good. Now what we have is consolidation. Okay, so we came down to all this area, but right now you notice that we are holding that 8-day, okay, and we're holding that 21-day. That's a key level here on a closing basis here on the weekly. If we can, we can go up right to the top of these candles. Okay, you're looking at that 1267 level, then we just march it right back up to that 1341 level, right? But you can see here we had this negative divergence going on here, and it played out nicely. It came all the way down, but you notice how nice and strong that 21-day held it. Now we're sitting here back down to 57 again. Plenty of room to run. The green is below your red because we had that sell-off, but that doesn't mean that can't curl right back up again. So right now, Netflix, I think, is a really good opportunity as long as we can hold that 8-day and that 21-day, and then we can start heading right back again for the top of that candle at that 1251 level and then 1267. We crack above that, we got a good shot at that 1341 level, okay? Now, I say, again, I wish the stock would split. You could buy a lot more shares. But again, this here is still looking very, very nice, coming into a good season for them. Okay, let's take a look here now at NVIDIA. Here we have NVIDIA. Now, this here was a really, really good trading stock all the way down here from this 86 all the way to that 184 level. Okay, so just a beaut. Now they're having some issues there in China. Now that's a big, big market for them. Okay, so don't let everybody say, oh, that isn't really, even Jensen there said he's disappointed by China's chip curves. Okay, so this is a really, really big market. And again, this stock is so highly valuated that this could, if this sells off, this could really get crushed. Okay, so just remember that. Now we hit that high of 184 level, then we retested it with 184.47. Okay, so he came in with a penny of that. Okay, there's your double top situation. Sold right off, try to work it, but now we have a downtrending situation, and then all the way down. Look at that. Now, upside here, we have to get back above that 8-day, 174.26. That's going to be your resistance, 175.02. 21 day 175.03. We get above that, we can march it up to 177.50 level, 178.85 will come up here, 180.28, and then we can march it right back up to that 184.48. We crack that, you're going to go to that 200 mark here. But you got to be a little bit cautious because remember that China, that's a very, very big market, okay? So downside here, we're watching today's low, 169.67 level. We'll come down to the bottom there, 167.35, and then 166.74, and then you retest at 164.07. Now, if we lose that level here, then like I say, then what we do is we can take these price channels and just look at the tops of these candles here. Those are going to be all your support levels, okay? Just for an example. So what we have here is you got 160.98, then we have 158.71, and then we come down to your 155 level, all right? Then we have all the way down here, 140.51. Now, when we look at this, you can see here how this is just kind of rolling right on down, as you can see the declining in the chart situation. And now here we're at the MACD. This here looks like it just wants to go kind of a lower situation. So this needs some kind of a catalyst to take it back higher, all right? So when we look here on the weekly chart, well, as I say, now we're below that 8-day, okay, to that 175.48, and we're coming right down into this consolidation. So we want to really hold that 164.07. If not, you got to retest that 160, 156.77, and then we come to the top of that 152.89, and then we could venture down to that 140.97 level, which lines up pretty nice here with the old 200 SMA. But let's give this time to shake out. I wouldn't go there jumping in on this thing at this kind of a price. I would wait as we have this rolling situation coming right on down. I don't like that because this is nowhere near like an oversold condition like we had here. Okay, see how we had an oversold, and then we had a nice good rally on up here. And I love this stock. It's one of my favorite stocks. I'm long the stock and I trade this stock, but I don't like that kind of a news that they had coming out there. That's just not really cool here on say a lot of a going forward kind of a situation. Okay, let's take a look here at my buddy Jets here, BMNR. Okay, BMNR. Now this is one of Tom Lee's special. He's one of my favorite guys. I listen to him, and and a little Einstein over there in New York. Those two guys are really some of my faves because they've been trading a long time. And Tom Lee, he's been dead right on these markets here. I don't know for how long now. Okay, so my buddy Jet here, he likes to trade this, and he's just killing it. And I can see now this is like an Ethereum kind of a situation. Okay, so we'll take a look here at the weekly chart here first. Now you can see here we're all the way from 392 to 161. Look at that, okay? That is just huge. Now we have this sideways consolidation. Okay, so what we're looking at here is we're looking, first of all, on the upside, okay? So you want to really crack that 57.01. That's going to be very, very key, okay? Now, if we can, then what we do is we come right over top of this candle right there. You're looking at that 57.30. We'll come up here at that 61 level. Then we'll come up to the top of that at 63.75. And then we have up here at 67.59. And then we have your 70 flat. And then we come all the way up to 71.74 level, okay? So this here has a lot of room to run. Now, this here, you can't really pay attention to all this here as of right now because this is just a spike. This was just like a FOMO. I got to get in kind of a situation. Okay. So again, if you can crack this level right here, okay, right there, that's 71.74, then yes, then we come right to the bottom of that candle. Then you're looking at that 92.50 level. Okay. We'll come to the bottom there. You're looking at 110.84. We'll come over here to the top of this candle at that 124.58. And then we have 126 flat. And then we have 134.48 and then 161. But right now, this is what you really want to trade. You can see how fresh and how new that this is. So you kind of want to just negate this unless we start closing back above that 71.74. So that's the range you want to trade. Now on the downside here, we want to watch that 8-day 50.25 level. 48.16, your 21-day, and then your 50-day is at 45.91. Now, if we lose that, we're going to come right down to that price channel at 39.71, and then we can hit the retest on here at that 30.67 level, kind of a situation. Now, there is a gap all the way down here. I'm not saying that's where it's going to go, but I say you got a 12.38. There's your gap, and then we look to the top of that candle at 4.57 if this thing just somehow just gets hammered. Now, what we have here going on your RSI, well, yes, to say you're only sitting at 61. That's plenty of room to go up and down. The green is over your red. So this is actually looking very bullish. And as long as that 8-day is now crossed that 21-day and that 50-day, as long as that 8-day holds, we got a good uptrending chart. Now, here's a 1 minute and a 5 minute. So this is how you want to trade this. You always want to look at it and make sure you have a weekly, but this is how you want to trade the situation. Okay. So we put this low here today here of 54.78, and then it ran up nicely to 57.22, and then she came all the way down here again, okay, at that 54.30, and now look at this nice uptrending situation that we have, okay? So what we're watching here, we're looking at the top of that candle at 56.24. So your next level, if it keeps right on rising, is we want to come right over top of here. This is what you're looking at, is that 56.42. That's going to be your next level. If it keeps right on running, then we come out here, 56.50. We come up to the top of this candle right there at that 56.90, and then we can retest that 57.22 level. All right. So if you want to trade off your 1 minute and off your 5 minute, but always put that weekly chart here just to make sure that it holds all these key support levels. That's going to be very, very crucial. So for today, what we're really looking for is that breakout of that 57.22. Now, for me, I haven't traded this. Jeff here, he trades this all the time. He's killing it. For me, I got to have the charts stringed out a little bit more. This is awful new. See how the 50-day just started. This is just kind of a starting situation. This has to be shaken out for me in order to get right back in. However, if you put a 1 minute and a 5 minute, it's easy that you can trade off of this kind of a chart. But even though we came all the way down, we hit that 54.30 level. We came and we retested it, okay, with a 54.42 level. Okay, so this was not your buying opportunity here. That was at 54.30. Came all the way down, but you don't know if it could go lower. Now it ran right up into that 8-day, couldn't get through, and then she came right back down. But you held with 54.42, a nice higher low situation. Okay, and that's what you want. So that was your chance to get in and then to run this bad boy right on up, kind of a situation. Now you can see how we're stair-stepping. Okay, so the key is going to be right there, get above it at 56.24. Then we can take a nice good run up here to that 57.22 level. Okay, so you can trade anything that you want. It's just that just always look for some kind of a pattern, kind of a situation. So never go buy it when it's actually sinking down. Always want that retest on the situation. So we had a retest with a nice higher low, and then we had a nice good situation where you could run that bad boy up. And now we're above the 8-day, the 21-day, the 200-day, and the 50-day. So this is looking good. We're just looking for that breakout of that 56.24. So I'm going to keep this one here on my radar because this is a really good one, but I need the charts to catch up a little bit more time, I should say, in the old field, as they say, to get a little bit bigger perspective on this situation. But again, if this thing keeps running up here, and watch that top of that 71.74 level, we crack that, then we can start hitting this level here. But until then, let's just trade these candles here on the upside, okay, until we hit that level. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here after the pit close. We'll take a look here at Bitcoin, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas, and we'll take a look at the indexes, which are all red except for Dow's up at 302. And I can't stress enough here that Fed meeting. Okay, not just the announcement at 2 o'clock. I think they're going to cut a quarter point, but watch what he says in his speech at 2:30. That's going to be key. Trade what's in front of you, not what you want.